Namaste, greetings and blessings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. This is our Sunday message, and I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, the founder and spiritual director of this center. And I invite you to watch not only this Sunday message, but any of our archived messages. I invite you to join any classes or events that we have going on. I invite you to reach out and email if you have any questions. Questions about this community, questions about me, questions about what we do, or questions about this science of mind and spirit, liberation theology that we practice and teach. And if by chance you find yourself seeking beloved community with other like-minded beings, even if you already belong, are a member of another community, church, or center, you are more than free to have multiple affiliations wherever you are fed and find community. You are invited. And lastly, feel free to click like, subscribe, and share this or any other message or announcements with others in your circle. And with that, much appreciation, love, and blessings. Enjoy the message. Namaste and greetings. Happy Thanksgiving and all of the giblets. Today we are talking about what it means to be grateful for Kinnection. Yeah, you heard that right. K-I-N-N, action, connection. So what are we talking about? I'm sure you can jump to the logical, yes, we are going to explore the profound connections between all beings, between everything, whether it's wildlife to bacteria to trees and plants to soil and everything in between. How is it all connected? And not just connected, but connected in a way that everything is vital to the support and sustenance of everything else. Breathe that in. See, when we damage one ecosystem, when we damage one habitat, it affects everything and everyone. Nothing within the sphere of that which the divine is isolated. So, how can we understand and appreciate our vast relationship with all of creation in a way that transforms the world? Like, how do we do that? Because just talking about it isn't going to do it. What? I want to, I don't know why he sounds like a vampire right now, but I want to introduce you to some of my cousins on my father's side of the family. Oh, it's more zombies. It's more zombies. They are, what did you just say? They are uglier than you. How is that possible? Ooh, that's a little, but all jokes aside. Connection gives purpose and meaning to life. Connection gives purpose and meaning to our lives individually and collectively. Without connection, there's no purpose and there's no meaning. We can see this when we look at, there was a movie, Tom Hanks, many years ago, Castaway. And he befriended a soccer ball and named him Wilson, and was deeply distraught when Wilson was lost. Connection gives purpose and meaning to our lives. But what is connection? What does it mean? Connection is simply a relationship in which a person, a thing, or an idea is linked with or associated with something else. That's it. It's a bond, a link, some form of interconnection, interdependence, interrelatedness. Connection is a bridge between one thing and another, simply as that. For example, communication. If I'm speaking, then the connection means there's sound that comes out of my mouth. But the sound has to be made based upon the air that is moving through my vocal cords and across my tongue and past my lips. And based upon how all of these things are connected, changes the way sound and words are formed. For example, where do I want to go? Let's go with howdy, as in it's howdy doody time. It's howdy doody time. Okay, howdy. But normally when we hear that word, it sounds more like howdy. It sounds like somebody coming from, right? So the sounds change. Well, the same thing happens if someone is signing. Based upon the positioning of their arms, their hands, their body, their facial expression, it changes the way the words are formed and articulated. The difference between me signing formally to know, to have knowledge of, versus less formally to know, to have knowledge of. Extremely informal to know, to have knowledge of. I may not even touch my face. I know. Know that, know that, know that. Finish, no, finish. I know. All of this is connected. And not even just that. If I'm signing, someone's eyes, or if it's tactile, someone's hands are feeling the words. When I'm speaking, someone's ears are receiving the waves that are moving across. This thing, because we're not in the same space, I'm speaking, the microphone picks it up, and on your side, your speaker does whatever speakers do so that the air still vibrates, so that you still hear the sound. One thing's connected to another thing. It's all connected now. Everything is connected. I'm sorry, Tracy. Everything is a musical for me. Connection. Very often I give Tracy this look. And usually it's after Tracy has said something that, huh? Wait, what? To which my response is, wow, that was random. I would imagine, as Tracy has many times, that Tracy will now, from this point forward, respond as, I don't have random thoughts. According to you, all thoughts still have, all thoughts connected, connection. Nothing is random. Which means, yes, she actually pays attention during the Sunday messages. And as she has often said before, I told you I listen to what you say. I just don't always do it, but I hear it. LOL. Nonetheless, yes, the point is, it is all connected. It has to be. It may not make sense, but it's still connected. Good old Da Vinci said, when one tugs at a single thing in nature, they find it attached to the rest of the world. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Chief Seattle and the web of life. When one tugs at a single thing in nature, let's think about how many trees are and how many habitats are destroyed in the Amazon in order for there to be farmland, which can't sustain itself, and for there to be wood for paper and other things, but they're destroying entire ecosystems. When one tugs at a single thing in nature, the consequences, the effect ripple throughout the rest of the world. So whether we think of it as the web of life and how it's all connected, or we think of it in terms of the domino effect and how cause and effect and it's always in motion, or the butterfly effect, where we've heard things, we've heard the phrase more likely, when a butterfly, when a butterfly in one part of the world flaps its wings, a hurricane is created somewhere else in the world. And it is simply indicating the fact that it's all connected. Everything is connected. It doesn't mean that butterflies are actually causing hurricanes. It's simply saying that something as small as a butterfly flapping its wings still has to, because it's still connected, has an impact throughout the world. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Quiz time. This week on Quiz Time, how many ways are we connected? If you are ready, first bid. Who's ready to go? For $1,000, Neil deGrasse Tyson says, we are all connected to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically. We are all connected. So once again, how many ways are we connected? Face-to-face communication. Well, what about phone-to-phone communication? Well, what about virtual, via Zoom or some other medium? In writing, connection. But it doesn't stop there. For only $29.99, you also get shopping. See, these two young folks in the grocery store, they didn't grow those carrots, nor did they deliver them to the grocery store, nor did they put them out for people to buy. It's because there are other people in play. The farmers who plant, who sow, who harvest, who ship, the driver who, right? The people who, it's same thing with the young woman and the young man who are buying clothes. They didn't make those clothes. They didn't sew it. They didn't weave it. Same thing for the family buying the house. They didn't build the house. They didn't manufacture the wood and all of the parts. They didn't install the wiring, the plumbing. Even they didn't build it and then put it up for sale and then buy it from themselves. There's a real estate agent. It's all connected. But it also doesn't stop there. If you call now for only $4.99, you also get, we are connected via the roadways and pathways and walkways. We are connected globally through continents and rivers and oceans that connect. See, because if we weren't connected, then I wouldn't be able to get on a plane here and fly over and land in Japan. Konnichiwa, o genki desu ka? I wouldn't be able to do that if there wasn't the connection and the ability to travel there. Or if I were to, which I'm not, I could get on the Love Boat. Soon it is going over there. I could. I'm not. But the connection exists. If the sun all of a sudden was like, deuces, peace out, I'm gone, all life on planet Earth would end. We would freeze, a block of ice. And yet the sun isn't touching the Earth, but the connection remains. And if we were to get rid of all bees, how would pollination of plants? Because see, bees pollinate, and it's because of their pollination that we end up with carrots and all these other things that we eat and enjoy, et cetera, et cetera. It's all connected. All of it. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. Note that Dr. King said, inescapable. No matter where you go, you are within God. No matter where you go, you're somewhere within creation. It's not like you can just pop, even if you were, teleporter, Scotty, beam me up. Well, your particles are still, they're not visible, but they're still somewhere where they can move from one place to another. You can't be teleported into non-existence No, because your molecules and quantum particles would still be somewhere in creation. There's no outside of God, so they're still somewhere because God can't get outside of itself. Because then there would be God and the outside of God. That doesn't exist. It's not, according to this teaching, that doesn't exist. So we are caught within an inescapable network of mutuality. What does that look like for each of us? To recognize and realize that we are all in one way, shape, or form related to, connected to. Even with the people we don't like, we're still connected to them. They're still humans. They may not act like it, but they're still humans. And based upon that, our biology, like, we're still connected. But for the sake of kindred, one's family, one's relatives, your relations. There's an interesting word that pigeon number 2 is using, cognate. Cognate is a word in one language that has the same linguistic origin and a similar meaning and spelling as a word in another language, such as the English word father and the German word Vater or Vader, which is why a lot of people, as soon as they are like, Darth Vader, father, is that Luke's father? Because Vader, Vater, it's a cognate. Once again, still means related, connected, network of mutuality. Allied, joined by or relating to members of some form of united alliance or allegiance. So when we think of the word family, because we've probably used the word or heard it used in such a way as the human family, or the family of mammals, or whatever, we've probably done it. But what is family? What is it? What does it mean? I found some interesting graphs created by Alexander, which I included the link. So if you want to go read more and look at some of them. Family of origin. But family doesn't have to just be that. According to his wheel of connection, there are friends, there are acquaintances, there are various ways that we connect with the variety of people. Even strangers, there's connection. I can see them, I can hear them, I can smell them, I can touch them. We can bump into one another because we're connected. We're in the same space and time. Even if we're not sharing the same language, I can say something. Go peggio, akate kudasai. No sé, no comprendo. Go peggio o akate kudasai. No sé, no comprendo. ¿Tú hablas español? Nihongo no? To the interpreter, I apologize for the use of foreign languages that you may or may not know how to fingerspell. Person A in Japanese, please open your book to page 5. Person speaking Spanish, what? I don't understand. Please open your book to page 5. I said, what? I don't understand. The fact that it doesn't matter whether you understand it or not, or whatever it is, it's still heard, or if it's being read, it's still seen, it's still recognized. Connection. Nonetheless, we are intimately connected. And one thing I have learned over the years, because I have a lot of chosen family, family isn't always blood, meaning biological. Family is the people in your life who want you to be in theirs, and they're the ones who accept you for who you are. Note, they are the ones
who want you in theirs. They accept you for who you are. So, what does it then mean to be family? What does it mean to want someone in your life and to want to be in theirs? What does it mean to accept someone and to be accepted by someone for who they are and for who you are? What does that mean? What does it look like? What does it feel like? You cannot care for the land if you do not care for its people. Climate justice is people justice. When we care for the earth, it means we must also keep in mind that that includes the people on the earth and all of the species and animals on the earth as well. It has to be everything. You cannot isolate it and say climate justice without also saying, yeah, but diversity, equity, and inclusion. How does climate justice tie into racial justice, gender justice? Because it's all connected. So our invitation is to start looking at the connection of it all. How are ecosystems connected? How does one system connect to another? How is an atom connecting to a molecule, connecting to a cell, connecting to an organ, connecting to an organism, etc., etc.? It is all connected. One sphere connects to another sphere. They are deeply interwoven one with another. They are all necessary for the sustenance of life. If the atmosphere is unbreathable, if we all snap and all of a sudden we're on Jupiter, we gonna die. The environment, the ecosphere, the biosphere, it doesn't sustain human life. It needs to be a perfect balance of oxygen, carbon dioxide, too much carbon monoxide, death. Too little oxygen, death. Too much carbon dioxide. Perfect balance in this inescapable network of mutuality. Boop, 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 boop. Trigger warning, trigger warning. This is the warning time for Tracy. If you need to look away, look away. Or anyone else who doesn't like creepy crawlies. Whether it's a rodent in New York City's subway system or on the sidewalks or streets, whether it's a pigeon, because New York pigeons, I think they've gone through boot camp somewhere because they're aggressive. Whether it's Canadian geese, Tracy's favorite friends. Whether it's roaches or spiders, oh my. They're all connected. We are connected to them. They are connected to us. Even though we call them pests, and even though we do things to exterminate them or relocate them or whatever it is we do, nonetheless, there is still a connection. And within this connection, there is a diversity of. We're going to get there in a second. But just for the sake of when we were talking about climate justice and justice, I feel it important to bring up this concept. A lot of people, even those within New Thought, don't like the concept of DEI because it's political. Well, for their sake and anyone else who chooses to get on that train of BS, how about we don't think of DEI as the way you're normally thinking about it? And DEI is divinity or the divine expressing infinitely. Now what? You still against DEI now? Because DEI simply says diversity, all that which God is, shows up in, through, and as a huge, vast variety of. Equity says all should be treated with, mutuality, that balance. All should be included. We shouldn't be excluding people. They should be at the table. They should be in the room. They should be a part of this in order to heal the world and create a world that works for all. And all of that is the divine expressing infinitely. To such a degree, once again, trigger warning, sorry, but trigger warning, creepy crawlies. Did you know that there are types of roaches? Cockroaches, specifically. There are types of, just 8 of them. Did you know that which God is shows up as, generally out of the 4,600 currently known species of cockroaches. Did you hear the number? 4,600 different kinds, different species of cockroaches. 4,600. Out of that, there are about 30 that are associated with human habitats, our homes and apartments, cars, and such. 30. 8 had me. There are 8 on the screen. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of cockroaches. Now you telling me that there's 30 that are associated with people's homes, apartments, cars, and dwellings. But that 30, it doesn't stop there. For an extra $5.99, you get 4,600. If this is not a drive the idea home that God is infinite expressions of everything, then nothing will sink into your consciousness, because at this point you are purposefully choosing to not recognize the vastness of how God expresses. You're choosing to be stubborn at this point. So let's step into the concept and the embodied realization. It's all God. God is oneness. What God is, I am. That means I and these 8, the 30, or the 4,600, we are all expressions of God. We are all within the oneness. We are all inescapably connected. The painting that you see, I've given you Glenn Verkerk's website, in case you are curious to see some more of his other work, as also to give him credit for the image. I love this image. But the idea is Mother Earth, or Pachamama. Regard heaven as your father, earth as your mother, and all things as your siblings, your family, your kindred. From one indigenous tribe, all plants are our brothers and sisters. From another tribe, we are all related. Many Native American cultures do not see humanity as being separate from nature, but rather as an integral part of the larger family of creation. When we can actually live this and protect the trees as our siblings, protect the water and keep it clean as our siblings, then we will start to truly understand what it means to create a world that works for all. Because if we don't care about the creatures in the sea, the octopi and the dolphins and the sharks and the crabs and the eels, if we don't care about them, then we don't care about God, and we can't care about ourselves. If we're all connected intimately, integrally, to not care for one is to not care for all and not care for self. Not truly, not deeply. Breathe. Love is wise, hatred is foolish. In this world, which is getting more and more closely interconnected, we have to learn to tolerate each other. We'll get more about that in a moment. Tolerate each other. We have to learn to put up with the fact that some people say things that we don't like. We can only live together in that way. But if we are to live together and not die together, we must learn a kind of charity and a kind of tolerance, which is absolutely vital to the continuation of human life on this planet. I personally do not care for the word tolerate. Many years ago, when I was a public school teacher in Pittsburgh, there was a publication we would get, Tolerance, and it was referencing being tolerant within education and how to be more tolerant educators. And I didn't like the word then. I don't like the word now, which is why I'm glad that Dr. Holmes says this. I do not care very much for the word tolerance, as though we tolerated each other. Now, that is better than intolerance, but people who are tolerated because they have made up their minds to be tolerant are missing a lot. I like the word understanding. Would you rather be tolerated or understood? Now, someone may start with tolerate, to understand, to accept. That may be the natural progression of the dominoes as they fall. But if we stay in the space of tolerating people, we're not getting into the space of actually forgiving, offering grace, and healing. Because most people don't want to belong with those that they tolerate. So understanding is the next progressive step in that evolution to eventually get to, right? For example, how many of us would want these folks as our next door neighbors? Invite them over for tea and cookies and, conversation. Most of us would not. And yet, how many of us understand what's the driving factor of their mental equivalence? How many of us seek to understand what makes someone choose to be a Christian nationalist, where Jesus is the mascot rather than the ideal, the great teacher that they aspire to be like? How many of us really understand the consciousness of, in order to move, and I'm not saying move to a place of, I accept their racism, I accept I'm not saying that, but accepting them, to then heal them of. Would you say, Betty? What the hell? Girl, how in the hell? How in the hell? What? How in the hell? I got you. But what if, hey, Dr. McCoy, in the name of heaven, when we say in the name of, like if you think of an exorcism, the name of, or a naming ceremony, the name of is a call to the nature of. So how about rather than saying or seeing these people and we're like, oh, what the hell? How in the hell? What about in the nature of heaven, I choose to, and then fill in the blank. I choose to pray. I choose to meditate. I choose to march. I choose to engage in whatever is mine to do to create a world that works for all in the nature of heaven. Because if we remember, Jane Goodall said you cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. Not a single day. What you do makes a difference. And you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. What kind of difference do you want to make? So let's remix those, the stuff about tolerance and whatnot. No one is asking us to tolerate or accept another person's harmful behavior, as if that is the sacred and holy and righteous thing to do. We are being asked to accept the truth that this person must be an incarnation of God. Pause. The neo-Nazi, the person, must be an incarnation of God. The Klansman must be an incarnation of God. Hitler must be an incarnation of God. So without that being our starting point, there can be no true healing, reconciliation, forgiveness, or evolution and manifestation of a world that truly works for all. We have to start from that space. They too must be God, expressing and incarnating. We are being asked to chart a new course of human connection, one that has perhaps never existed for the masses in the history of this planet. Pause. What was that that they said, the Albert Einstein said? I think it was him. If you keep doing what you're doing, but you're expecting something different to come out of it, that cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. If you want something that you've never had, you have to be something you have never been and do something you haven't done. So how in the consciousness of heaven do we create and manifest our vision? That is the question. How do we connect in such a powerful way? How do we make use of the connection that's already there, the inescapable network of mutuality that is already present? Embody it and then manifest the vision. It starts with knowing. How many of you know this word in Latin? This Latin word. It's not a word in Latin. It's the Latin. You know this word? Well, it's the Latin word for God. Starting from that premise, in Latin, tu et Deus unum estis. You and God are one. You and God are one. There is only God. And what it is, you must be. So if you and God are one because God is all there is, and what it is you must be, there is only one God. And what it is, you are. What it is, all must be. When we start there, there's a quantum leap in how we then show up in the world to heal and transform the collective consciousness and bring about a world that works for all. Breathe. The Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0 offers us a path, practice, and way of embodied living that enables us to recognize the divine in, through, and as everything and everyone. This changes how we show up in relationship with all that is oneness expressing. We realize we are God in relationship with itself. This is a profoundly healing realization, but it is not without challenge. Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0 also gives us a way to address and navigate these challenges. We are not called to be divine doormats or disposable doo-doo wipes. Rather, we are called to know the truth, to speak the truth, and to be the truth. This includes when we are in relationship with people who, for whatever reason, show up as racist, sexist, the morally and ethically compromised and corrupt. How else do we heal and evolve if we will not address the dis-ease that we see affecting so many people? Breathe. This week's affirmation, our declaration, I will say it first. If it resonates with you and you agree, I invite you to say it with me the second time. I am grateful for the unique beauty, brilliance, and diversity of my local, social, regional, global, and spiritual ecosystems. Together. I am grateful for the unique beauty, brilliance, and diversity of my local, social, regional, global, and spiritual ecosystems. Breathe. This week's personal journal inquiries or your Thursday night study group questions. Number 1. Describe 3 of my most life-affirming relationships, and then describe 3 of the non-life-affirming relationships. And they could be relationships of the past or of the present. Describe my relationship with nature. What would I need to do differently to relate to it, nature, as an expression, as the body of God? Number 3. How does my language indicate any form of dislike or hatred of anything or anyone? For example, when do I, if I do, when do I and why do I joke or insult or complain or name call certain folks? You know, they're just stupid. They're just they, them, such and such, such and such. Whew, Lord, he said it's challenging. Number 4. What comes to my mind or what emotions surface with the realization that it is not me and God, it is God, period, which must include me? Okay, just make sure you get that. Number 5. With that realization that it is God, period, and because God is all there is, I must be included in that totality of oneness. It's not God and me. It's not Ray and Ray's body. Oneness. With that realization, what am I invited to change in my mental equivalents, which are my thoughts and beliefs, all of the ways I communicate, my emotions and my feelings, my actions and my behaviors. And then lastly, as Jane Goodall said, what I do makes a difference. What is a difference that I made last week? And what is one that I want to make this coming week? You good? This week's The Practice. What are we going to do this week? Well, you know it's going to be a discussion or something. According to Ahsoka, discuss how you have made a life-affirming difference in the lives of 5 people, and how you have adversely impacted the lives of 5 people, whether it was an intentional or unintentional impact or influence. What was it? Who was it? How was it? Discuss it and breathe as we enter into that space of infinite knowing that we refer to as prayer. And so I breathe in this space, simply knowing that there is only one. And because there is only one, God, it is even linguistic convenience to talk about connection, because it simply is. In the same way that an inhale and an exhale, I can refer to them as being connected. The inhale goes in, there's a pause. The exhale goes out. There's a pause before the next inhale. And I can refer to them as being connected. And yet, when I say breathing, it simply is. Take a breath, simply is. And take a breath doesn't mean breathe in and hold it forever. Take a breath means inhale and exhale. It is all in one action. And because God is all there is, simply oneness, omnipresence itself, I realize that to even refer to connections is simply for linguistic purposes to indicate in this relative, in the subjective ways that we and I and all are connected and related to one another. But in essence, when I pick up a cup, the cup and I are connected because God is oneness. The coffee in the cup that I begin to drink must be connected because I, as God, oneness. The coffee that goes down my esophagus, connected. The esophagus connects to my throat, connects to my mouth, touches the cup. The fluid goes in, it goes down, connected because God is oneness. All of the functions of my body do what they do because God is oneness. And so it is in this awareness that we simply sit in gratitude and appreciation, recognizing the infinite oneness of all that is, even when we are not consciously aware. There is the awareness behind the awareness behind the awareness, where the infinite observer, our consciousness itself, still knows and knows that it knows. And so from this space, we breathe We know, we embody, and we live. The inescapable network of mutuality, this connection of God with God, as God to God, simply God. So it is. And so it is. Much love, appreciation, and blessings. Once again, happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, happy Friendsgiving, happy whatever it is you choose to do to show yourself and those you care about and love that you care and love. I will see you sometime during the week or right here, same bad time, same Vulcan channel. Live long and prosper. Love you.